Rise of the Tomb Raider is really much better than Tomb Raider 2013. And I even enjoyed playing it. You might think, how come? Did something hit your head or something? Well, it's time to find out how and why.
So after Tomb Raider, the reboot one, the first in the Survivor trilogy, left me with a bad taste in my mouth. I was wondering if I really want to play Rise of the Tomb Raider anytime soon. If the game is going to be more of the same deal, I'm not really sure I want to experience disappointment again. I'd rather stick to the originals where I feel the most comfortable. But hey, since every single life coach on social media says that we as people only grow in every sense of the word when we expose ourselves to certain levels of discomfort, I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna do it and play this game with an open mind. Could it be that I'm gonna like this game? This first cutscene with Lara and Jonah reminds me of this scene. Yeah, the original Tomb Raider with you and your guide walking on the mountains of Peru in search of the tomb of Qualopec. Intentional or not, it warms my heart. Everybody else is a coward to scale those big white mountains without big financial injections up their lazy asses. So only our famous duo goes up there into the unknown without any important questions such as, will we survive on blizzard-infested hills? All is well. Lara and Jonah are climbing as you and me admire the trails and snow as you walk, and then Lara says something like this.
But I have a good feeling about this.
No, you just didn't say that. Never say that. Never say such thing. Because... See? Told you. I told you.
So now we have a typical way of getting rid of our companion by making a forced separation. After all, this game is a part of the so-called Survivor trilogy, so Lara needs to survive this harsh environment again. But before I dissect the game a little bit more, let's talk about the story. Witnessing too much supernatural stuff like the events in the previous game can certainly fry your brain cells a little bit. You take the first exploration trip to Yamatai thinking you are gonna have a good and interesting time. And what do you get in return? You develop PTSD. So now Lara undergoes a therapy in order to stay sane as much as she can, but she cannot let go of the fact that her father took his own life out of shame he experienced by not discovering this game's next and final objective. An interesting term, or should we say, artifact called Divine Source. Even though Anna tries to stop her, Lara goes to Syria to find the tomb of the Prophet of Constantinople. She is finally doing something that the title of the game implies all along. She is searching for a proper tomb. But unfortunately that exploration lasted about half an hour. The tomb is here and it contains absolutely nothing. Well, thank you game very much. Just as Lara makes her brain cells acknowledge the fact that she did this expedition for nothing, our future enemy organization called Trinity crashes the party with a man called Constantine as their leader, totally uninvited.
And look at that bastard coming like he's hard. You know, he's a hard ass. Hey woman, I'm not afraid of your gunpoint. Wow, what you gonna do? Shoot me? But as soon as Lara grabs his remote and do a little demolition course, he runs away like a little pussy he is.
Lara is also running away because everything is falling apart, but not all is lost. She spots an interesting symbol that she has seen somewhere before. That's right. Back to Daddy's study to investigate it a little bit more. Jonah is not so convinced that an artifact called Divine Source exists, while Lara insists that she should find it and thus follow in her father's footsteps. While Jonah walks away after a failed argument, some random dude walks in out of nowhere to kick Lara's butt in order to steal a book. He almost chokes her to oblivion, but Jonah returns to help. This next section when he yells, "You can't stop us," and jumps through the windows is so laughable it's not even funny. Look at that stupid jump in slow motion. By saying, "You can't stop us," that idiot implies that Lara cannot stop Trinity in their search for the same artifact, so there's only logical thing left to do in this case. To go to Siberia and find it before they do. I've noticed that, unlike Tomb Raider 2013, Rise of the Tomb Raider has a lesser number of important characters. This would imply better focus on creating a deep and rich characterization for each one of them, but I'm not really sure if that's the case. Sure, we have a returning character, Jonah, and we all already know that he acts like a big brother. You know, a big guy with a big heart that will do anything in his power to help the people he cares about. You have this stepmother wannabe called Anna, who is acting exactly as the title suggests. She is often smothering Lara in every single way, which is understandable as she possesses a hidden motive to be connected to the Croft family. Constantine should be your typical take no prisoners antagonist. He should be this deep-voiced slab of old-fashioned hard-as-nails figure that will make no compromises in any given moment. You want to go soft and let your target escape? He's going to squeeze your eyes until you go blind. There's no second chance. Jacob, on the other hand, as your ally, should be a totally opposite personality. He should be understanding, and he should provide help as much as you need it. He should be the man of the people, a benevolent leader, which he actually is.
However, I have a slight problem with sympathizing with the characters in this game. Either the game feels short, so there is no time for a proper character development, or they are just, shunned to mere cutscenes, without, proper way from them to go and shine in this game. So maybe I should ditch them all together and, focus a little bit more on Lara. Holy shit, she's hot! I mean, did I just say that out loud?
I have to be frank, this version of Lara Croft is spot on. Sure, she can sound a little bit whiny, but she is far from the inexperienced version of herself in the previous game. This time, she is determined to do things her way. She is going to redeem her father's name, even if it means going to the edge of the earth. This time, that supposed edge of the earth would be Siberia with its harsh weather conditions and Soviet installations and whatnot, where she intends to find one specific important artifact. This is more like classic Lara. Even though this time she is not doing it just for sports. She is not overly brash, cynical, or ostentatiously arrogant like she might appear in the original Quintology. This time she has a decent amount of attitude coupled with a strong sense of self-esteem, which is very realistic human behavior, and I like that. Turns out they also altered her appearance a bit. Turns out they based Lara's face on Camilla Luddington's face instead of Megan Farquhar's. Since they used Camilla for motion capturing and voice acting, I guess it made sense to connect the voice with facial expressions and all that. Some say she lost her attractiveness since she is not modeled after a model, but I beg to differ. Her character coupled with her looks in this game is just right as it's supposed to be. Lara feels real, like an intelligent, gorgeous-looking, slightly tomboy-ish girl next door. She doesn't do intentional sensuality, because she's busy kicking your ass in multiplayer games or something like that. But when you stop for a moment and take a proper look at her, you'll see that she enjoys being in her body. She is so satisfied with herself as a person that she has absolutely nothing to prove to anybody. And you are so attracted to it. You will love her. Does it make sense? While we are talking about Lara, shall we talk about gameplay? After all, we are controlling her. For the most part, her mechanics are copied from the previous game. That means that the bow will still be the primary weapon, while everything else will be procured on site. You know, just when the situation requires a knife or a gun, the game itself is conveniently putting them on a table or in the hands of a deceased person. So, along the way, Lara will accumulate weapons divided in 4 groups such as bow, pistol, rifle, and shotgun. But this time, each weapon has a number of variations with different stats such as damage, recoil, ammo capacity, or rate of fire. These weapons can be modified so the stats can be improved, bigger magazines, less recoil, better accuracy, and so on, as well as Lara's attributes. Her skills are divided in 3 sections because it's the year 2015, and we need RPG-like elements in every single game. These sections are called Brawler, Hunter, and Survivor, and as you can see, each of them provides a selection of certain skills to help you in your playstyle should you choose to activate them. Besides skills, Lara has some of the old moves that she's forgotten how to do, like rope pull or rope arrow, so you need to learn them again. Besides that, she can use a knife to cut ropes, use rope to swing across big pits, use grapple to reach ledges that are out of reach, or use arrows to climb onto them like an acrobat. Advancing the plot will grant her a little thing called rebreather so she can dive underwater for an infinite amount of time. Oh yeah, let's not forget about creating Molotov cocktails out of bottles scattered around, or creating explosives out of cans that you would normally throw around to distract poor guards. Running through the environments like Soviet installation or geothermal valley feels like a proper adventure in a Tomb Raider fashion. It's like you're thrown into a remote location so far away that waits for you to uncover its secrets like caves, hidden tombs, dilapidated buildings or mines, flora and fauna, or some ancient city that no one has seen for centuries. As usual, the levels themselves are designed like mini hubs where you can scavenge stuff like ammunition, salvage materials, or even coins, so you can purchase stuff in a small shop called Supply Shack. Yes, you can even buy weapons or gadgets like rope ascender from a guy that surrendered himself pretty fast like a real coward. Good for us, I guess. Between shooting poor animals with arrows or eliminating wandering enemies, you might come across some allies that seek help. That's correct. You have some side quests called missions if you want to gain extra experience, new skill, or a part of the weapon. These are usually being your typical fetch quests, so I'm not really sure that their introduction was needed in this game. They are not so different from challenges in comparison. What's the difference between destroying these red laptops as a challenge or destroying these 5 communication posts in this first mission. I see the same deal. Should I even mention visuals? Okay, I might do that a little bit. Over the course of 2 years since the inception of Tomb Raider 2013, the developers at Crystal Dynamics have mastered a thing or two about a contemporary console generation such as Xbox One and PS4, so it's not surprising that Rise of the Tomb Raider looks so good. Maybe it's me, but this game looks way better than its predecessor. The snow, waters, trees, houses, buildings, and even people look way better. Okay, I can ramp up the visuals on my PC, but still, you could sell me this game by saying it is from 2018, and I would believe you? That's actually a nice question. I'd say that from 60 to 65% of the game, you're on your own doing what you are supposed to do as a typical Tomb Raider. You're going through the ruins, whether it's some lost city or Soviet gulag, to get some items that will help you unlock some hidden location where pesky little artifact resides. Further exploration of some places will inevitably lead us to the best part of the game.
Optional tombs. I'm still quite perplexed as why are these not the big part of the game, you know, the main part of the game. I mean, check this out.
Yes, you have tombs like the ancient cistern where you adjust the water level several times. Oh yes, we have something that's a reminder of a game we all love and cherish. How about that? I really like tombs like House of the Afflicted or Catacomb of Sacred Waters because more often than not, you will encounter these beautiful sceneries that are riddled with these puzzles. These puzzles, so to speak, are not really something that will fry your brain cells, but it's kinda a shame that these are reduced just to optional tombs, and they are not present in the entire game. Once you master them, you will stumble across these scripts on the pedestals that will grant you a reward in the form of a new ability. Very nice. I mean, if you ask me, these optional tombs should be the blueprints to design and build the entire game around. Just imagine if you can spend several hours in the aforementioned tombs solving stuff like puzzles, avoiding death traps and so on. That would be exactly like playing classic games, just in a new, modern way. But no, for the most part you either do a lot of platforming Uncharted style, or should we say Tomb Raider Legend Trilogy style. And that's fine, don't have a problem with that. Or sometimes the game decides that you need to do some running in a corridor-like scene that shatters apart like this just to remind you, oh well, if Uncharted has something like this, we should also have it. Other times this game wants to throw some enemies in front of you to teach you the ways of stealth, because stealth takedowns give you additional experience points. Hiding in the bushes or behind boxes to lure enemies by making noise is cool, but me being me, I quickly resort to using my guns and shooting them all. However, you cannot pass the game without some forced killings. There are many sections that are converting Rise of the Tomb Raider into some third-person shooter. Combat is very well made, and dealing a lot of headshots can be quite satisfying. It detracts from the platforming too much. It won't be long until you realize that our young Miss Croft has quite a formidable body count. It doesn't really fare well with the rest of the game in my opinion. This game contains 2 DLCs, and since I've got the complete collection of Tomb Raider games on Steam, they were included in this game automatically, which is great. I'm not the one who advocates DLCs because I think they are bad business practices in which publishers are trying to squeeze too much extra money from innocent gamers. However, I strongly advise you to play these because they are really expanding the experience. The first one is called Baba Yaga, the Temple of the Witch. This one acts as a big mission once you rescue a hostage called Nadia. Nadia wants to find her grandfather Ivan, who went to Wicked Vale to search for his wife Serafima, who is supposedly killed by none other than Baba Yaga. By being a good person, you decide to help her, and you enter the Wicked Vale unintentionally, taking a very interesting LSD trip induced by hallucinogenic pollen exposure. Lara is tripping in the woods very much, which, as you can see, is a very interesting sight to see. This is the moment when this game dabbles with supernatural activities a bit much, but it's forgiven. This makes you wanna see what's going to happen next. Walking house and undead wolves? Now that's wild. By learning what ingredients were Serafima using to make an antidote, Lara makes one for herself. Now walking through the forest looks rather normal, and walking house is just a mere gondola. Lara and Nadia found the grandpa by the fire, which is good, but the only way to solve this quest is to defeat Baba Yaga. Since Lara has a habit of being clumsy when it's unnecessary, the antidote is gone. She needs to kick Baba Yaga's ass by being under the influence of pollen once again. This boss battle is quite interesting. You cannot shoot her directly, but you need to use the environment to your advantage. Plus a little bit of rope pulling will do the trick like this. Very creative way of dealing with the boss. Of course she'll send a swarm of undead wolves to eat your bacon, but they are easy to take care of. Rinse and repeat several times while the whirlwind in the middle becomes bigger and even contains floating platforms, and she is done for. Turns out that Baba Yaga was actually Serafima. The curse is gone, the family is reunited, and all is well. Like I said, a nice little DLC you must experience. The second DLC is called Blood Ties, and it's accessible through the main menu. It's advisable to finish the game first in order not to spoil anything, so you have been warned. Guess what? We are visiting Croft Manor. Hell yeah! The building itself is redesigned once again, but who cares? We get to visit it, and this time we need to make sure that Lara is the rightful heir. After her father's death, her stupid uncle called Atlas wants to take the ownership of the manor, unless Lara finds and shows the proof of ownership, like the will or evidence of her mother Amelia being dead. Throughout the exploration of the Croft Manor, we get to know things about Lara's parents, such as how they met and got married, how Amelia's death led Richard to a rampant search for immortality, and that he had a secret working chamber in the cellar. Suddenly, it feels like Croft Manor is this one big giant tomb raiding section in which you need to find Amelia's tomb. What an interesting twist. At the end, you find her tomb, and Atlas concludes that this act nullifies his request to take the ownership. What a loser. And now he offers assistance in maintaining the manor if Lara needs it. This section usually serves as a place to wrap things up, but let's not forget something crucial.
Do you know that this game was initially a timed exclusive, only for the Microsoft Xbox One? That's right. Back then, Microsoft was so desperate to have a game like in the vein of Uncharted, because Sony had Uncharted. It was their exclusive. So
Xbox One had a disastrous start in a console life cycle due to Microsoft making all the wrong moves, so maybe timed exclusives could help. But Microsoft also has a lot of money, so securing these kinds of deals wasn't unfamiliar to them. But as you can see in the comment section under the Gamescom 2014 announcement trailer, gamers were not happy at all. They were right to be mad. You have a predecessor that sold exceptionally well across all possible gaming platforms, and now the only way for them to experience the sequel from day one is to get an Xbox One. I don't think it's going to work. There was also this fear that the arrival of Fallout 4 around the same time would hinder the sales of Rise of the Tomb Raider, but the game has sold around 12 million copies by the year 2022, so I guess it's all good. So, when I draw the line, do I like Rise of the Tomb Raider? Well, I do. This so-called review might look like I'm complaining all the time, but I was genuinely enjoying playing the game. Without even realizing, I was crunching some decent hours during the days I was playing it. And that didn't happen with the predecessor. This time I wasn't forcing myself to play. I was playing the game because I liked it. The only thing that I would change is to reduce the shooting segments in favor of more tomb exploration. A better ratio would make this game 100 times better. It would feel like a classic game shaped by a touch of modern game philosophy such as controls, character development, and so on. I also wouldn't mind having a few extra hours of the game to play. And that's just about it. Everything else is pretty much fine as it is. Okay, maybe Constantine boss battle is a bit crap, but we cannot have everything now, can we?
well, now it's time to go to tackle this final Tomb Raider game, the Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Wish me luck, and until next time, take care.